is Tish. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to take the time to discuss a book that I most recently read. This book was very important for me to read, not only because it's a remarkable story, but because the author so happens to be my cousin, Kelvin Smith Sr. Kelvin's father and my grandfather were brothers. That's how we're related. The story is called The Unlikely Candidate, which is my cousin Kelvin, aka Smitty. That's what we call him in our family. He's affectionately known as Smitty. It's his story as a heart transplant recipient. Smitty struggled with congestive heart failure for about 10 years before he eventually had to go to the hospital and wait to receive a new heart. As a member of his family, I was aware that he was really sick and that he had a heart transplant, but I had no idea the whole ordeal and the pain and the suffering that he went through. And so it was very important to me to read this book because I didn't really have a grasp of what organ donation was exactly. I have someone in my life that I know who is a living donor, but again, I never saw it through the eyes of an actual organ recipient. And so I was very intrigued by Kelvin's story. Looking at Kelvin from the outside, he appears to be a very muscular and strong, fun-loving guy. He's just someone that you love to be around. He's a family guy. He loves his family. He loves and adores his wife and his children. And for so long, he was suffering in silence, just trying to keep his pain to himself. I started reading the book, and as soon as I got to the first page, the first paragraph, it just reeled me in. I was like, what's going on? Oh my God, I have to read more. His writing was very captivating, and he had a way with words that made you feel like you were him, like you felt exactly the pain and the emotions that he was going through. Kelvin goes on to explain that he had went through at least 4 different near-death experiences and how God had helped to pull him through. It was only by the grace of God that he is still here. Kelvin goes on to explain that after seeing his doctor, he was eventually informed that he would need a heart transplant. He begins to describe the whole ordeal that he went through, waiting in the hospital, and the treatment that he received from the doctors and the nurses, as well as getting to know other people, other patients that were in the hospital who were also in need of a heart transplant. And he just explained that heart disease does not discriminate according to anybody, not your race, not your age, not your gender. On the outside, he looked to be very athletic. Most people wouldn't have even known that he had congestive heart failure. Smitty also explains that there are different stages that you have to be in order to be considered for a heart transplant, and it could take God knows how long to actually find a donor, and that you have to realize that somebody had to pass away, had to die in order for you to live. And he also explains that one donor can save 8 lives. He also explains that he ended up in the hospital for about 3 months, I believe, before he received the good news that a donor was found, that a match was found for him, and he was able to get a heart transplant. But he goes on to explain the trials and tribulations that happened even after he received his transplant. He also goes so far as to explain the impact that it had on his family and how his wife sacrificed so much to make sure that she supported him and was there for him, and also him being worried about his family, him being worried about his wife, his brothers, and his children. And it just had such an emotional impact and made me want to think about learning a lot more about organ donation and considering if that will be something that I may want to consider in the future. I know previous to me reading the book, I had my own preconceived notions, but now after reading this book, I'm just so intrigued, and I want to learn more about it. And I believe that we all should learn more about organ donation. And it's just an amazing thing to know that our lives can help save others who are in dire straits. I'm just so glad that I took the time to read this book, and I admire my cousin so much for sharing this story with the whole world and just educating us and allowing us to see the world through his eyes. I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to go out and get the book. It's on Amazon, and it's also on my cousin's website, I believe. It's kelvinvsmithsenior.com. I know I'm a little late. It's been out for a few years, but better late than never. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow in my next video. Bye.